Hi everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what my favourite moments of Miraculous Ladybug has been so far, mainly because quite a lot of you actually have been asking me in the comments wondering what my favourite moment was. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video about it because I also want to know what your favourite moment from the show is. So my favourite moment, it's not from one of my favourite episodes. Like, I don't think this is a bad episode, just not a personal favourite, just my opinion. You can disagree with me when I tell you what episode it's from. But not only is this my favourite moment of the show, it is also pretty much the moment of Miraculous that broke me. That sounds a little bit dramatic, but let me just explain. So let's set the scene of where I was when I watched this episode. So I was in my university's library. This was before the pandemic, like the year before I think. So I was in the library, I was studying, I had work to go to in 30 minutes. I have a job at the university, so I was like, I have work in 30 minutes. I was sat there studying Mandarin because I had a Mandarin class at the same university that night. So I was like, okay, I need to get this done ahead of tonight's class. And like I said, I was on the silent floor, and by the silent floor, it's meant for like silent study so people can concentrate. You are not allowed to talk, it's not for group work, you have to be silent. The only sounds you should hear on the floor are people putting things in and out of their bags and people typing on the keyboards. That should be the only thing you hear on this floor, nothing else. However, whilst I was studying, I checked Facebook, which I know I shouldn't have, but one of my friends, one of my only friends who likes Miraculous, sent me the link to Heart Hunter with the English subtitles. I immediately closed my Mandarin books. I was like, I've got half an hour till work, this episode is 20 minutes long, I need to know what happens more than I need to impress my Chinese teacher. I need to watch Heart Hunter right now. So like I said, this definitely wasn't my favourite episode. I don't think it's a bad episode, just definitely not my favourite. So like I said before, this definitely isn't my favourite episode. I don't think it's a bad episode, just personal preference, not my favourite. But the ending of Heart Hunter. Let me just read you out the line that Marinette says at the end of the episode, in case you forgot, because I don't think I'll ever forget this moment in my entire life. So Marinette says, "Yeah, I'm fine. Actually, I'm not fine at all. I'm so tired, Luca, of all these responsibilities, of having to put up a front all the time, of not being able to be who I truly am." And in that moment in the library, I immediately started crying. And not just like a few tears, like, oh, that's kind of sad. Like, full on. Do you know when you cry so much that you just look so ugly and unattractive? That's what I looked like in that moment. My eyes were red, my body was shaking, my nose was running. I looked an absolute mess, and by this point I started work in 10 minutes. So I was just like, this was a bad decision, but I'm also kind of glad I did it. And I would have been like full on sobbing, as in making noise. But like I said, I was on the silent floor of the library. I was trying my hardest not to make any noise, even though I was like literally crying for England. If crying was an Olympic sport, I could have won gold in that moment. I cried so much. Like, so I had 10 minutes to pull myself together before I had to go to work, and granted my job, I work as a note taker, I take notes for the disabled students at university. It's not a particularly hard job, it's fairly easy, to be honest, it's quite an easy job, but this scene was literally the only thing I thought about for the rest of the day and most of the week actually. So not only is this my favourite moment from the show, but it's also the moment of Miraculous that broke me. Why? Why do I like it so much? I think just because I've never related to something so much in my entire life before. So I watch a lot of TV, and I watch a lot of film, and I read a lot of books. I'm a PhD student, that's what I have to do. I have to read and watch a lot of stuff that is actually related to me. Part of my PhD is about mental health, so I'm reading a lot of things that are to do with mental health, so which I can relate to. But I haven't related to anything before quite like this. And prior to watching Heart Hunter, I hadn't actually been able to relate to Miraculous Ladybug a great deal, to be honest. Even though it was my favourite TV show, and still is my favourite TV show, there was nothing really about the show that I personally could relate to. I'm not French, nor have I lived there, but I've been there quite a few times. It's really easy to get to France from England if you didn't know, because they're not very far apart. I'm not their age, even though I was once, and I did used to go to high school, obviously, at some point in my life. I'm not a superhero or a model or an aspiring fashion designer, although I definitely do enjoy going clothes shopping a bit too much, probably a bit too much. And I also bear literally zero physical resemblance to any of the characters. However, I never really minded not being able to relate to the show in terms of the characters or what was going on with the plot and the relationships going on. That was fine with me. I didn't really care because I just love the show so much, as we're all aware over the past couple of months how much I love the show. However, despite not really being able to relate to really anything in the show up until this point, the ending of Hearthunter, as well as what happened in Truth and Gang of Secrets, mainly where Marinette was concerned, I don't care about Luca and everyone else, it made me realise how much I actually do relate to the show, and more specifically how I relate to Marinette. So like I said, we look nothing alike, her heritage is completely different to mine, we are different ages, although I have been 13/14/15 once. How old is she at this point? I don't know. So whilst on like a baseline physical level I don't relate to her, and I'm also not a superhero or whatever, I can't relate to her in that aspect, I can relate to her, first of all, in terms of her high school experience where kind of like bullies were concerned, people like Lila and Chloe. But Hearthunter, Truth and Gang of Secrets show me how much I relate to Marinette in terms of the responsibility I have on my shoulders. So no, I am not a superhero who has to save Paris every single day at least once, if not maybe like 3 times. I don't have to do that, obviously. But just in general, I can identify with the kind of like pressure on her and how she feels, especially that ending of Hearthunter. She was having a good time. The ending of Truth, same again, and pretty much all of Gang of Secrets. That was just Gang of Secrets. It was an amazing episode. I loved it so far. I think that's definitely my favourite episode of this season so far. But it was kind of difficult to watch because of how much I personally identify with what she was going through. So like I said, no, I'm not a superhero, but I do have a lot of responsibilities that I guess you just obviously don't know about because you don't know a great deal about me. I guess this channel is one of my responsibilities, but it's not like it doesn't feel like there's any pressure on. I love talking about Miraculous because I don't really have anyone in my life to talk to Miraculous about. So it's just a fun thing. So yeah, it is a responsibility, but there's no pressure associated with this channel. However, if you didn't know, I am a PhD student and there is a lot of pressure on me there, and if I fail my PhD, I literally don't know what's going to happen. I am so scared to fail it. So there's a lot of pressure on me, and I can really identify with Marinette in that capacity. So even though doing a PhD and being a superhero, they are very, very different things. I'm not trying to compare them, they're very different things. But in both jobs, I don't know, in both jobs, there's a lot of pressure on to achieve and do the right thing. And I literally probably have a Hearthunter moment at least twice a week, but then the day afterwards I've got to pick myself up and carry on doing my research, even though it can be extremely depressing because most of it's about suicide. So it's really not fun all the time, but I know it needs doing. And I just really admire how much Marinette, even after every single time she fails, not necessarily as Ladybug, but more so in her civilian life, every time she fails or makes a mistake, she just picks herself back up and then she carries on every single day. And even though she's literally a decade younger than me, I'm 24, like I think she's a wonderful role model to look up to, in my opinion. I know she's done some questionable and creepy things, but because of the nature of Miraculous, because it's a kids show, you have to, in kids shows, show a character making mistakes and then show how they rectify it. That's kind of the lesson Marinette is teaching to children. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you try your best to apologise and change your behaviour. That's kind of like the lesson Miraculous is teaching. And I just think the way she just carries on going, like, is just wonderful. And now it's also showing that, yeah, she now needs help. And I'm so excited to see Mr. Pigeon 72. I can't wait. I love Marinette so much. So I'd love to know what your favourite moment of the show has been so far and why. Honestly, Je suis Ladybug and Gang of Secrets was a very close second for me because that also made me feel a lot of things. But the way I felt watching the end of Hearthunter, I don't think that's going to be beaten until maybe we get to the Adrian and Marinette identity reveal. I don't think there's going to be another moment to top that apart from maybe that moment in the show. Assuming it does happen. Better happen. So I'd love to know what your favourite moment of the show has been so far and why, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!